Welcome back to Coffee and Conversation. Are you coming or not? Audie is sitting at my feet, hoping to hop up and photobomb the video as usual, but I think he wants to be invited. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to let him sit on the floor if he wants to. And if he wants to come up, he can come up, but I am not begging. All right, do you want to say hi to everybody? Come here. Come here. All right, no. All right, fine. Here, you can have the shoulder. I was hoping you would show your little face. The cat food wars have some promising turns to them. I found a nice little cat food that he seems to like. Now, I thought I had found one of these 2 days ago when I started feeding him a can of, chicken and tilapia. And he seemed to like it for the first, 10, 20 minutes. And then afterward, no, not so much. But I did manage to get him to eat the entire can. And for Audie, that little 3.5-ounce cat food can, that's a big deal because I've never gotten him to eat canned cat food before. But this was a pureed cat food, and he seems to like those best. They seem to do okay with his tummy. We do have another one. This one is called Tiki Cat Luau. So yes, Tiki Cat Luau, and that one he seems to be okay with. And I'm going to try a Blue Buffalo pureed cat food next. And we'll see. All I really need to do is find one or two that he likes so that I can continue ordering them and then continue experimenting with different varieties. My fear, of course, is that I will run out of things that he likes before the next order comes in. Now, luckily, Chewy, that's the company I get the cat food from, they have a warehouse 15 miles from here. So ordinarily, if I place an order, it's here in maybe 2 days at most. But I wouldn't want to have to deal with Audie if he's gone without food for 2 days. Frankly, I don't want to have to deal with Audie if he's gone without food for 20 minutes. Because even though I may have things that he can eat, if I don't have things that he likes, life is not pleasant in my house. So that's where we're at with the cat food. I'm going to go give him something to munch. Oh, look, he turned around so we get a nice profile shot. I'm going to get something for him to munch on, and I'll be right back. So, Audie is in the kitchen, and I gave him the Blue Buffalo. That's the one I haven't tried yet. And he is gobbling that down like he's never had a meal before. So, fingers crossed. Usually I have to make sure he can or will eat at least 2 or 3 portions of any cat food before I can determine that it's a keeper. Sometimes he'll just nibble on something because it's new. And then when it's not new, which is like 10 minutes later, we're not interested anymore. But this one, oh, I can still hear him slurping. So I think this may be a keeper. Fingers crossed. I wanted to do something different today. So moving away from the cat and onto the topic of the video. I was watching a video on YouTube, and this was about men's everyday carry items from the 1920s, and then the same channel, by the way, the channel is Gentleman's Gazette. I'll speak more about them in a moment. Same channel did men's everyday carry from the 1960s. So, 1920s, 1960s, 60 years later, I assume the next one they have in the bag is contemporary men's everyday carry. And that's what EDC is, everyday carry. The stuff you keep on your person when you go out into the world. Now, I watch a lot of videos from channels like Gentleman's Gazette. I got hooked on them. because of my interest in shoe care. Now, we've had this discussion before. Women will go out and pay thousands, no kidding, thousands of dollars for a single pair of shoes. And these very same women will not own a shoe brush. They will not own a pot of shoe cream or shoe polish. It's like, what? Why would anybody pay that kind of money for shoes and not even think that it might be a good idea to take care of them? So if you want good information on shoe care, where you get it are these men's channels. And every now and then, frankly, it's not often, but every now and then I will get a good tip or trick from one of these channels. As you can see, my baby is here. Apparently our belly is full of that new cat food and we are happy. So, did you want to get into my lap so everybody can see you? Well, he's giving you his profile. Is it time for your close-up? Maybe he will give us a big smile. Certainly, he is well-fed and happy. I can hear him purring. So, well-fed and happy at this point. And let's hope that's a testimony to the Blue Buffalo. All right, yes. I'm sorry about this. I was really hoping to get this done without a lot of cat drama. But I think I'm good. It's very sunny. I think I'm going to let him go out and sit on the porch for a while. I'll be right back. Okay, Audie is now sleeping in the sunshine and we can get back to what we were doing. So I do watch these channels and I find a lot of their content interesting, mostly because very often the subjects they will discuss are subjects from time periods that I lived through. So when they start talking about men's everyday items in the 1960s, I remember that. I was around then. Now, obviously, I wasn't around in the 20s, but I do know what men were carrying around in their pockets because, frankly, that was only 30 years before I was born, meaning these were the things my grandfathers still had in their pockets. Anyway, that's how I got hooked on these channels. And the whole topic of everyday carry items made me realize that we as women have these items too. And I thought, you know, that's something we have never talked about before, and maybe we should. So I am going to share with you my everyday carry items, and some of these things I have not been through since, oh my goodness, a little over a year ago when I loaded up my current favorite bag. And maybe it's about time I re-examined what I have in there. So feel free to play along. Take your own handbags and let's see what you've got in there. By the way, we have a comment section just for that purpose. So take a look at what you've got. Let us all know in the comments. I'm going to start with this. A wallet. Yes. Okay, so I got stuff in here. Now, what do I have? All right. Oh, I probably shouldn't start with this. I should probably start with this, the cards. Now, one of these three are bank cards. Starbucks. This is my favorite Starbucks card because it's brailled. All right, I've got to turn it around. Braille. It's also grade 1 Braille, which means even a small blind child could read it. Usually they don't start children on grade 2 Braille until maybe they're in 3rd or 4th grade. That's usually around the same time that sighted children are taught cursive, or used to be taught cursive, back in the days when we taught them cursive. But this is all grade 1 Braille, meaning anybody with any knowledge of Braille can read it. So, yeah, my Starbucks card. And the reason we had to pull that out first is because the cards I have in the back pouch of my wallet First thing, an extra Starbucks card in case something happens to the first one. I don't know. I mean, yeah, we might die if we don't have coffee. This one, boy, that's not going to go back in there. I have some cards. Fortunately, I only have, 5 of them. And they are business cards, some with my personal information, some with the YouTube channel. I do need these occasionally. I have to hand them out. Well, I don't have to, but I choose to hand them out. So those are important. What is this? Okay. Yeah, something interesting. Oh, okay. I know what this is. I paid the wrong amount on my property tax bill. And instead of simply notifying me and saying, by the way, the tax rate changed, you owe us another $15, they made me write out a whole new check and sent me back a check in the amount that I had paid them. And this was like 2 months ago. So I have been carrying around a check for like $600 in my wallet for 2 months, where it's not doing me any good. You'd think I would put it in the bank. Well, obviously I'm going to now. But yeah, that doesn't make me look too bright, does it? I have a Social Security card and a Medicare card. They used to be the same. They're not anymore. I suppose that's a good thing, but it means I have to cart around 2 cards with me. This is a medical insurance card. This is a medical insurance card. And this is my passport. So, most people would carry a driver's license, but since I don't drive, this is my identification. All of these insurance cards, and we've got like 4 of them, are basically in case I pass out on a street corner. I live in the United States, and if I pass out on a street corner, I need to be able to prove I can pay the hospital bill. I know that sounds crazy, but that really is a fact. That is why I will carry these cards, because at least no one is going to say, well, we don't know if we can get her medical treatment because she might not have the ability to pay. I'd just as soon not take that risk, thank you very much. So these all have to go back in. And basically, other than 1 Starbucks card, everything that was, oh no, I'm sorry, I forgot to check the change pouch in here. Everything that was in there is going back. This is my spare house key. I specifically got something that was very thin. Well, let me see if I can show you how thin that is. Specifically so I could easily keep it in my wallet. House key, important. And this is some prescription pain medication that I had when I was, well, prior to my knee replacement surgery. And I should probably not cart this around with me. But yeah, I don't think this is going back in. So, other than some medication and an extra Starbucks card, everything that came out of this wallet is going right back in. Because apparently, most of the stuff I had in there was actually necessary. And clearly, not all of it, but most of it. But wait, I'm not anywhere near done. I dug this out. A shoehorn. Now, this is in my bag temporarily because I am going to physical therapy, meaning I'm going to need to change back and forth from my sneakers to, I use a pair of ballet slippers for some of the things I do in physical therapy because the sneakers have massive heavy soles on them and you can't like stand up on your tippy toes insoles like that. So yes, I'm stuck with this for anywhere from a few weeks to a few months. I will be carting around a shoehorn. Yes. This. This is a fan, in case I get too warm. I got to question this. Maybe this is something I could live without. I don't know. I think maybe it is. This. Okay. Breath mints. Why? Because I'm an American, and we are downright obsessed with what we smell like. Of course I have breath mints. And yeah, they're going back in the bag. Oh gosh. Now this is really going to get embarrassing. This is a little baggie full of, among other things, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 more Starbucks gift cards. I will put about $10 on each of these cards, and I do hand them out to people. Mostly these days it's people in uniform, because we do have a military base not too far from here. We do have police, fire, other municipal workers. And that's what I do with these. It's like, if you got a uniform, I'm buying you coffee. Gosh, I am like anybody's girl when it comes to that. And I have a couple of small Visa gift cards. These are only like $20 a piece. And I keep those in case I need to do something like, I don't know, tip a barista, whatever. Those are little things that you just never know when you might want to do something for somebody. And I'd rather give someone a gift card than give them cash because of that whole thing. We talked about this when we discussed tipping. That tipping was something you did for someone who was somehow lesser than you. These were not your peers, your equals. They were somehow lesser on the socioeconomic scale. And as a result of that, to this day, I am uncomfortable handing people money as a way of tipping them. I don't know. I clearly have a whole lot of issues about tipping that go back to the way I was raised to view tipping when there was a lot more social differentiation in this country. I know, I probably need therapy. No, I don't need therapy. I have you people for that. Why do I need therapy? So that, oh gosh, yeah. This is going to be the fun part. We are going to open this up and see what's in here. Because I don't think I have gone through this in more than a year. Okay. I have a concealer. And I just dropped something on the floor. I'm going to have to take a look at what that is. Why do I have a concealer? I have no idea. I don't need to be carrying that around with me. This is a little container of extra earrings. These are not valuable earrings. They're not expensive or anything. They are just in case I forget to put on the 6 or 8 earrings I wear every time I leave the house. Yeah, I'm starting to think maybe I have more problems than I'm willing to admit. They're probably going to go back in with me. Chapstick. Okay, this is important. You always need chapstick. Again, that's probably going right back in. I bet I know what this is. Okay, this is perfume. This is Magie Noir perfume. This was the brand worn by my friend Monica, and I liked it, so I started wearing it too. Problem is, Monica's also blind, so we would very often find ourselves in the company of lots of other blind people, blind-oriented meetings, whatever. And if I wore this in, I would walk in a room and everybody would say, "Hi, Monica," because this was her signature scent. Every now and then I would do it just for the fun of it, just to trick people, which I know sounds mean. It's blind humor. I don't know what to say. Nobody really holds it against you in the blind community. Yes, I tricked you with the wrong perfume, and everybody gets a laugh out of it. But yeah, it's okay if we do it to each other. But I don't think we're going to be very tolerant if sighted people do it to us. If sighted people do it, it feels like mockery. If blind people do it, it feels like fun. So yeah, don't try this on your blind friends. They may not receive it well. This container of perfume, and it's just a little purse dispenser, is 40 years old. So I think I should probably put this in the bathroom so that I am reminded to use it when I go out and use up this perfume before it gets like condemned as a genuine antique, and not in a good way. It still has a very strong fragrance and I still do like it. So I should probably use that. Also, here. Yes, I do have one. This is a little perfume sample. And I keep these. I buy these. I like little perfume samples. And ordinarily, I get up in the morning, I pop one of these in my pocket. So yeah, compare the size. It would make a lot more sense for me to carry this than carry that. So I think this one is just going to go into that little pouch. So what else do we have in here? Okay. All right, first of all, look at the condition of this. The little envelope, it is just really ragged. Special tooth cleaning picks. Yeah, you know, American. God forbid our personal hygiene is questioned. I need to get rid of that. Oh, wait. In addition to the little toothpicks, 3 little disposable toothbrushes in what looks like a very old baggie. Yeah. These are very shabby little nail filing squares. I got 2 of those. They are small, easily portable. My nail files tend to be very long. So small, easily portable, but very grubby looking, and I'm sure I can find some in better condition and replace those. This is one of those wet naps. Okay, we're going to open it, because this looks old and shabby. Okay. It's barely even damp. That's what I was looking for. Is this still even wet? Barely even damp. Most of the moisture has evaporated from it. And it will over time. So that needs to be replaced. Gosh, this is getting very embarrassing. Oh, another of those little nail file squares. A nail clipper. Because, yeah, it's not enough just to have a bunch of nail file squares. A cigarette lighter. I don't smoke. I used to, so it's not like I have anything against smoking. Well, I kind of do. But it's not like I have anything against smoking. There's no judgment here. I used to smoke. But I will always carry a little lighter, just in case. I don't know, just in case of what. What is this? It's not like I'm out in the woods and it's midnight and it's freezing, and without this lighter I will not be able to start a fire and I will freeze to death. I still end up carrying it, just in case. Just in case of what? Maybe that should leave. Oh, some of you may not recognize this. These are little tins that used to have, and this is Alison, Bear and Bufferin had little tins like this, and there would be a dozen little aspirin in it. And we have, let's see how many we have in here. There's a trick to opening these. Yeah, you have to squeeze the opposite corners. Well, it looks like I do indeed have like a dozen of them. Now I'm going to have to scooch these back in. Yes, I do indeed have a dozen little aspirin in here. So why am I keeping this? Remember, I had prescription pain meds in my wallet. They're going to leave. I will continue to keep this. I don't have headaches. This is not something I'm ever going to need for myself. But I will keep it because it's this big. And it could save the life of someone having a heart attack. So yeah, this will stay. Now, to be honest with you, I don't remember the last time I was anywhere near a person having a heart attack. And maybe never. But if carrying something this small might save somebody's life, I'm going to keep it with me. Especially since I got enough crap in there, I don't have to begrudge that little bit of storage space. Oh, here. A comb. So, yes, I have a tiny little comb. And this, by the way, is the sort of thing that might have been in a man's EDC stash in the 20s, in the 60s. Well, particularly this might have been in the 60s, but without the pretty floral design. But a comb built along these lines that had its own little case. This was very popular with both men and women in the mid-century because everybody carried a comb. Everybody. And it was cute when they were like little and decorative and whatever. So that's probably going to stay. And let's see what else we've got here. Oh. Little tiny panty liners. Yeah. We're not going to talk about those. We're just going to set them aside. That, gosh, I think that is probably a leftover from my much younger days when carrying that sort of feminine supply was necessary. And the final thing I have is this. This is a pen. Looks very small, but it's longer when you take the cap off. This pen is my special traveling pen because it's not a gravity feed pen. You can write upside down with this pen and the ink continues to flow. I'm not quite sure how they do it. I'm sure it's some form of capillary action because it wasn't an extremely expensive pen and certainly doesn't look high-tech. But this is my travel pen. This will stay with me. So that's what I cart around with me all the time. Do I really need 3 little nail filing squares? No, I don't. And frankly, I ought to throw those away and stick another newer, nicer one in there. Maybe I should just stick an emery board in there. I don't know, but I can certainly find something more productive to pop in there than a whole bunch of little squares. Do I need the aspirin? Yes, I do. The comb? Yes. But how many little disposable toothbrushes do I need? Do I need 3? Am I ever going to be anywhere where I will need to brush my teeth 3 times before I get home to my real toothbrush? I don't think so. So I got to question that. I honestly have to ask myself, how much of this stuff should I really be keeping with me? Am I carting this around to excess. I weighed this before I brought it out so we could take it apart. And it weighed almost 8 ounces. That doesn't sound like much, but look how tiny this is. Something this small, weighing half a pound, really tells you the extent to which I have packed foolishness in there. And keep in mind, this is nothing compared to the amount of foolishness I used to carry around with me until I finally realized that I was getting excessive and started combing through it all very carefully. I can probably get rid of at least a third of the stuff I am carrying with me. Can I get rid of all of it? No, I don't think any of us can. Obviously, I need to keep identification. I may not need to keep my hospital and insurance cards, but there was a Queen of Sweden some years ago. I can't remember what her name was. I'll look it up and let you know. And she was an older woman who used to carry a little piece of paper around in her handbag that read, "I am the Queen of Sweden." People thought that was very eccentric. The truth of the matter is she did it because she often traveled alone. The Swedish royalty is well known for just going out and mingling in the population. They take great pride in that they will, show up at a corner drugstore or something. And it's always been that way. So, wandering around alone, apparently it occurred to her at some point that because she was the queen, she didn't have any of the standard forms of identification people have. Like they might have had an ID card from their employment. They might have had a driver's license. She was the queen. She didn't have those things. So she just wrote it on a piece of paper in case she passed out on a street corner so that people knew who she was and she wouldn't be an unidentified person. So it wasn't quite as eccentric as it sounded. But yes, I take that to heart, and I do have enough stuff in my wallet so that if, like the Queen of Sweden, I ever pass out on the streets, they will be able to identify me. And yeah, like I say, they're going to know they can take me to the hospital and I'll stand behind the bill. Gosh. Now, I'm wondering what you folks have. When you take your bags apart and look at all the stuff, are there things that you need to carry with you all the time? You could have far less than I have. You could have far more than I have. So let's hear about it. Is this enough to inspire you to make some changes? It's going to make some changes for me. I have a lot of redundancies. Yeah, how many painkillers do you really need? And that prescription medication isn't going to help anybody if they're having a heart attack. And the aspirin will. Oh, and by the way, given the fact that most people tend not to use aspirin these days, most people will use Tylenol or Advil or some other kind of pain reliever, but not regular buffered aspirin, the way my generation grew up. That's one of the reasons I will keep that tin of aspirin, simply because it's just not as commonly available as you might think. Yes, you can buy it at any drugstore, but if you walk down the street, how many people do you suppose would have aspirin in their pocket? I would be willing to bet that if you found 5 people with some kind of pain reliever, only one of them would have aspirin. So, yeah, some of the things I'm going to need to keep. Some of the things, I don't even know why it's in there in the first place. This. Why do I need a concealer stick in that bag? I don't know. No idea. Concealer stick. No brush, just a concealer stick. What on earth was I thinking? So I would like to get this down for the very practical reason that with something like this little tiny container weighing 8 ounces, that is 8 ounces I probably don't need to be carrying around with me. And it would probably make my life a lot easier not to be carting it around. If I could reduce the weight by half, that would be nice. That's something, good heavens. I actually have something strange spilling out of this. I have no idea what it is. I'm going to have to take a look at this later. But yeah, it's so bad, weird stuff is spilling out of it, and I don't even know what it is. So, what do you have? What do you think you need? Are there things you don't carry with you that you think you should carry with you? Let me know, and let's just start sharing about this, because frankly, we can all learn from each other. You may be doing this far more effectively than I am, with better results, with less encumbrance in your bag, less necessity to feel like, you know, you're moving house when you change from one bag to another. I do sometimes. Sometimes I will look at that and say, you know, I just don't feel like fishing all the stuff out of that bag and putting it into another one. All right. So we got a little bit of Audie time. Thank you all for being with us. We are going to take a look at a slideshow on the way out. And for those of you who join us for Just Chatting, it'll be 8 o'clock New York City time this evening. And I hope to see you back next time. Meanwhile, have a terrific day.